Well, it looks like Lisa Cook is officially cooked. Independent investigative journalist Chris Brunet obtained Lisa Cook's 85-page tenure package via Freedom of Information Act. And boy, there were some bombshells in here. Let me give you some of the context. Before she was appointed to the Federal Reserve back in 2022, Lisa Cook was a professor at Michigan State University, where she taught economics and international relations. No deliverables for either of those, by the way. Now, when Biden nominated her in 2022, there was a lot of pushback on her resume and how qualified she was as a professor, saying, quote, critics, including some in the Senate, say that she is not qualified for such an important job and has mischaracterized her economics experience. As a senior Republican Senate aide who requested anonymity because they are not authorized to speak on the Republican strategy, told the Daily Caller that Cook is one of the least qualified nominees in the Fed's history. The aide stressed that Cook's scholarship has no connection to monetary economics or the Fed's dual mandate. She went so far as to calling herself, quote, this is Cook, a macroeconomics economist. She used her career to teach the, quote, intersectionality of black people in the economy, whatever that means. But when people started looking into the self-proclaimed macroeconomist in 2022, reporters found out, namely my next guest, that her published work doesn't show any peer-reviewed macroeconomic publications. Well, the man who uncovered all this about Lisa Cook years ago, Chris Brunet, investigative journalist, and you have a Substack, which is fantastic. Dude, I'm looking at this stuff. I'm like, you found this out in 2022. Nobody really picked it up, and now it's all coming back up, and it's like, wow, how did she get there in the first place?
Right. Well, I have been on the Lisa Cook beat longer than literally any other reporter in the world. The reason is because before I worked as an investigative journalist, I worked as an economist. So like I was actually in the economics world, and I spoke to economists, and I knew what economists thought of her. And the general opinion in the profession was that she was a fraud, she was an intellectual lightweight, and she was the DEI charity case. So that's really what started me digging around into her record back in 2022. Nobody really cared at the time, even though there was a Senate Banking Committee, but it was mostly just me looking around. And eventually I obtained the 85-page document that proves what I was saying all along, that she's not qualified even by the standards of her own department.
Right. Well, that was actually, you published all these documents just openly, and I want to point people to the page on your Substack where they can find this stuff later, but you said that Michigan State's economics department likely voted against tenure, but they were overturned by the dean. You said in a lengthy piece that she was not even good enough to be tenured at Michigan based on merit, yet somehow she's Fed board member material?
Right, that's kind of the whole problem with her not being qualified. If she were an Asian man, for example, she would not have received tenure at a top 200 or top 300 school. But because she's a black woman, she received tenure at a top 30 school, which is Michigan State University. And the reason she even got tenure at Michigan State in the first place, as my documents show, is that her own department voted against granting her tenure. They checked a box that says "do not reappoint" by the department chair, but that "do not reappoint" recommendation was overruled by the dean of the College of Social Science due to DEI reasons.
I mean, she doesn't exactly look. I mean, like her tenure packet lists her economic review papers and proceedings as with an asterisk indicating that it's peer reviewed, but she was lying. I mean, lying about having something peer reviewed is worse than plagiarism.
Right. This is a trend that I've seen with Lisa Cook. Throughout her entire career, she lies on her resume to make it look better because it's so thin. And so that was one example. She portrayed her American Economic Review paper as peer-reviewed when really it was just a short policy paper that wasn't peer-reviewed. Right. And she explicitly said it was peer-reviewed. And when she was nominated in 2022, she edited her own website to remove the words peer-reviewed from it because she knew there would be scrutiny. But the Wayback Machine shows that for years her website said this is a peer-reviewed paper.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.